Do you know what to do when you're lost? In Search and Rescue, we had a program that we would share with parents and kids. It's called Hug a Tree. And it's not that trees need physical affection, which I'm sure doesn't hurt, grounding and all, but it is easier to find a stationary subject than to continuously chase the trail of something that's moving. And that's just fact. It's kind of like if you have a plan with your children that if you get separated in the grocery store, meet me in the bread aisle. It makes sense, right? Ultimately, it's easier for people to follow sign and find clues to locate the lost party. Here's how that principle translates into professional or work life. Now, we've all seen people ask this question in some way, shape, or form. Are you hiring? Do you know anyone who's hiring? Something like that. And I'll tell you, a killer in a networking conversation is when you ask someone what they want to do in so many words, and they respond with either a quizzical look or a very non-directive answer, or they just restate their current or past job description. And if this is you, if I'm talking to you, I want you to really perk your ears up here. At the end of the day, both situations that I just described are really symptoms of the exact same thing, and it's lack of direction. Think about it. If you don't know where you're going, how can you ask someone for directions? So where does this hug a tree or stay in place concept come into play for your work life? Now, we've all heard the term job hugging, and that's real. And what I'm absolutely not advocating for is to make a shelter in place in a bad situation a long-term strategy. But step one is to realize that you're lost. Quick anecdote, it actually happens often, semi-often in search and rescue scenarios, where the subjects of searches actually show up when they see interest around an event and they see all the first responders and whatnot. They'll show up and ask what's going on. They don't realize they're lost. Okay, so how do you know if you're professionally lost? Here are a few of the infinite ways to tell if you need to stop and take stock of your standing. You can't adequately articulate your role or your company's mission or strategy. Sunday nights suck or are filled with dread. The mere thought of work is an energy vampire. You might not believe in what you do anymore or who you do it for. You might find yourself going through the motions and checking boxes rather than making an impact that you used to. You don't have an active work friend or work group, or if you do, it's dwindling. You might not understand why you're reporting to the person that you are. Bottom line is you might not be putting your best foot forward, and you don't know why. And lastly, and this is the one that just hits you between the eyes, you just don't see a future in doing what you're doing. If this is you, stop. I want you to be honest with yourself and root cause the why. How do you do that? Easier said than done. Here's a couple of steps to take. Ask yourself what has changed and why, and be brutally honest. Do you have any ownership in the situation? What is controllable? When did this change happen? I'll give you a little story. I once had a team member who had a lot of tenure in the organization before they reported to me. In the course of getting to know each other, I could sense that there was a disconnect, and I had a really honest conversation with them. And what I asked them was, when the last time they were happy and engaged with their role? Now, that's a much deeper question than it sounds, and my job was to guide them through that thought exercise to get them to root cause. It actually took a while for them to answer it. However, once they could identify when the last time was that they were happy, and they described why they were happy and engaged, and I'm talking duties, impact, all the ingredients of their satisfaction, we were then able to pinpoint the point of divergence. And finally, we just built a bridge to connect them back to their happy self. And that gave them ownership, with support, of course. This turnaround was visible. Not just myself, but others in the org saw that. Bottom line is this person was lost and just needed direction. We basically got them to hug a tree until they could be found. And ultimately, they found themselves. All this is to say, you have a role in searching for yourself if you're lost. Sometimes the fact alone that you've identified a gap and you're planning to address it is enough to change how you show up. I guess what I'm saying is, don't be in a hurry to move fast in the wrong direction. Slow down to speed up and make the moment count. Overall, I want you to be intentional. My name's Anthony, and I hope this has helped.